All right. Well, welcome to episode 2 of Catch 2022, where we discuss what I share at the Recovery Center, some tips, tricks, and things that I've learned that allow me to share the principles in a way that's easier to digest, easier to eat, so to speak. And because we're talking about something that's intangible, people get all mucked up about how to share the three principles, and I understand. Because the minute it becomes conceptual, we get stuck in our heads, and then we get stuck in our heads, and then we are trying to share something about getting unstuck, and it kind of makes us feel like we're in this like complete bind. So how do we get out of it? How do we get out of this bind of sharing the principles and not feeling like we are mucked up while we're doing it? Because after all, aren't we supposed to be sharing something that's supposed to make us more free and liberated? And do you see these moves? This is how it should feel like when you're sharing the three P's. And actually, it never feels like that because you shouldn't be doing this. Don't rule number one, don't ever do this while you're sharing the three P's. It just feels and looks really weird. What you should do, on the other hand, though, is let's say that you're coming into a group and you are completely confused and you are nervous and you're scared and you don't know where to begin. Are you ready, folks? I'm going to give you the answer to that. You know what you do when that happens? You tell people, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming today. Before I begin, I want to let you know that I'm really scared, I'm confused, and I don't know where to begin. Did you see what I just did? Did you guys catch that? I didn't even do this. Did you guys catch what I just did? What I did is I came in real time and told people where I'm at in this experience. See, what most people misunderstand about sharing the three principles is we're not trying to get somewhere 5 steps ahead. We're showing them that we're fundamentally okay at this very moment. And what I mean when I say fundamentally okay is that if you're able to speak throughout your ups and downs and have clarity in those ups and downs, there's something deeper than our states of mind that we're able to reflect on, right? Where it's like being on a boat and saying, folks, there's a really big wave coming. Oh, okay, the water's settling down. Uh-oh, there's another wave. Let's hold on for a minute. That doesn't mean you're a bad captain. That actually means you're a really good captain because you're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of the ship. You're aware of the waves, right? That doesn't stop the waves from coming. That doesn't stop the boat from tipping. That doesn't stop anything. It just lets people know that you are the captain in that sense and you're aware of what's happening. Right now, when I'm having this dialogue with people, unlike the captain analogy, I'm just in the ship. And sometimes I get seasick. Sometimes it looks beautiful out. Sometimes it's so rocky that I don't get to see the beautiful mountains out there and I don't get to see the whales jumping up and down because I'm too busy looking down in my boat. But it's okay to say that. Why? Because the best thing you can do when you share the principles is have them know that they're in the same boat. Right? Like, how cool is that? That's the whole thing about sharing the principles. It's not to get them out of the boat and jumping into the sea. It's, hey, folks, I'm in the same boat. So when they go and sail the seas, and someone says to them, "Wow, you're really settled right now, but didn't you tell me you have anxiety?" And they can say, "Yeah, I have anxiety." And then someone asks them, "Well, what are you doing about this anxiety?" And they can, with clear confidence, say, "I'm anxious." Like that that's what I'm experiencing. Yeah, but what are you doing about it? Well, what am I supposed to do about it? I'm anxious. Well, what do you do when you're like feeling really anxious? Well, when I'm really anxious, I'm really anxious. It's like once you actually see that that's what I'm experiencing, like that's what it is. Well, what do you do when you're insecure? I am insecure. Well, what do you do to get out of it? I the insecurity goes out on its own. Like it stopped the question in of itself actually stops making sense. Like when I had suicidal ideation, like people go, it must be different when you had suicidal ideation. And if you guys have read my book, I don't know where it's at now, but what the F are the principles? I tell people that I had a chemical issue because I took a drug called finasteride, and it gave me a lot of suicidal ideation thoughts, right? A lot of thoughts that were very suicidal. And people said, people, because I worked for a doctor for other men who took this similar drug, and they would call me and say, well, what do you do when you have suicidal ideation? And they couldn't wait to get my answer. I'm like, I would have a lot of thoughts that were about suicide. And they're like, well, what did you do about it? Like, I don't know what I did about it. Sometimes I went and made lunch. Sometimes I went on a walk with my wife. Sometimes I went and took a nap. And sometimes I read, but it's really hard to read when your head's telling you to kill yourself. So a lot of times I didn't read, but I could cook with that thought in my head, that like thing playing in my head. And all of a sudden, like eventually, once they started to see that I actually had no interest in fixing it at that time, because there's not much I could do to fix that, to be honest. Once the chemical structure changed, it actually, I had less of it, but while I had it, I just had that in my head and I just did shit in life while I had it in my head. So when you're sharing the principles, the goal isn't to get them to see the sun behind the clouds. There's always sun behind the clouds, right? It's not what you're trying to do. It's fuck it. You know what you can do? You can play outside while it's cloudy, right? I'll never forget my daughter. This is really important. We're watching a uh, every morning we put music on, and the music that we put on, it's like this dance music, and they'll have like videos of like young people jumping off like the rocks and mountains and going into the clear ocean in like Belize or the Maldives, and it is crystal clear. And my daughter said to me, Dad, how deep is it that where they're jumping? I'm like, oh, it could be up to like 100 feet. And she's like, Dad, I've only been in 8 feet of water. And I said, yeah. And she said, but you know what, Dad? It's okay. This is brilliant. She's 5 years old. Okay, check this out. This is insane. 5 years old. She said, Dad, I can't touch the bottom of 8 feet and it's okay because I know how to swim. I think I'll be okay at 100 feet because I think I can swim the same way no matter how deep it is. Folks, that's a fucking 5-year-old that said that. No matter how deep the water is, whether it's 5 feet, 8 feet, or 100 feet, if you know how to swim, it doesn't matter how deep the water is. Like that is what I share at the recovery center. It doesn't matter how crazy your thoughts are. You're fundamentally made to float. You're fundamentally made to swim. You're designed to. My daughter doesn't get scared at 100 feet of water, but someone else might go, oh my God, this is crystal clear. I can go, oh, whoa, I could see like so deep. This is scary. And guess what they start to do? They start doing this because they're thinking, oh, if I now I got to scramble. And guess what ends up happening? You drown when you scramble. But my daughter intrinsically found out there is no difference, so she swims, and it's calm, and she's okay. So now if she was a principles practitioner, I'm imagining if she's a principal practitioner, what she would say in a group of people that are afraid to swim, she'd go in 100 feet, 100, she'd go into a place that has 100 feet of water, 100 foot water. Is it feet or foot? I'm not sure. 100 feet of water. And she would say, folks, do you see what I'm doing? It doesn't matter how deep it is. And yes, I'm a little nervous right now. This is the first time I've been in 100 feet of water. And I could look down and wow, I see all the fish down there. The last place I've been was only 8 feet. And she's telling people in real time where she's at, but she's still floating. And she's still okay. And guess what that does for people? It makes people go, I think I can go in that water too. I know how to swim. And one by one, people join her. And she says, folks, this is the principles. This is our nature. And as soon as you realize that you're okay in this water, you'll actually calm down. And guess what you do when you calm down? You get to see more of the world. So look down, folks, and look at the fish, and look at the coral, and look at your feet, and look at the beautiful water, and feel the sensations. All of a sudden, you become more alive and more in tune to your world. Now, you don't have to be in the water, and you don't have to be 5 years old to share this understanding. You can be anxious, you can be angry, you can be depressed. And today, you can get on a webinar and tell people who you are in real time. And if people see you in real time, that you're fundamentally okay in spite of your state of mind, people may join you. And when they do, their fucking world will change. They will say, oh boy, this isn't scary. Maybe I don't have to do drugs. Maybe I don't have to be that afraid of being afraid. And maybe just this moment of just this clarity is enough for them to have that little bit of gap from their fears and anxiety and depression and all this thought that we have. And they get just enough space to get a glimpse of a little bit more of who they are. And that's life-changing, life-saving. That is a real lifesaver. I hope this was valuable. I hope this was good. And I'll see you guys either on the boat or in the water, and hopefully in the Maldives or Belize or even in San Diego where I'm at. And I hope you guys join me one day. And we'll be swimming together, and we'll be laughing at 500 feet of water, 1,000 feet of water, an infinite amount of feet below us. And all we need to know, doesn't matter how deep the water is, we're still floating, we're still swimming, and we're all good. All right, folks, thank you so much. Pia, it's always so good to hear from you, and it's real-time swimming. I guess I would say it's real-time loving, it's real-time connection, it's real-time us experience. That's what most of us have been missing because we're in past time experiences, future time worries. Most of us are not in real time experience, right? We're in past time trauma. We're in future time anguish and pain. But boy, real time experience, game changer. James, much love to all you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.